Hello everyone, my name is Amy. Today I'm just diving into the question, how fast can a vaccine be made? So if you go into the question, how fast can it can? So we're going to have to dive into history and today to find out the question. So mostly the key here is solutions and teamwork. So we have to dive into this history cards to solve this problem of the day. So imagine a new pathogen is going to your cells and also into the bodies and healthcare systems is left actually vulnerable. And you need to be urgent vaccine now. Every kind of immune system trying to get everything it can just get rid of this pathogen, but it only gets stronger and you feel even more worse. So we really need the urgent call vaccine here. But how can? Mostly scientists, when they really do a vaccine or invent one, mostly only for 20 years perhaps to build this kind of vaccine, a new invention. This is typically very slow. And for these patients, their waiting is long. Population will decline and people will damage and refuse to stare for all of these scientists. So how can we solve this problem? I just told you the two keywords again, solutions and also the main thing and also like the teamwork they have. These are only in the answers later, but we just dive into here. So this video from TED Talk, TED Ed, I really underestimated them. I thought science could never end this, but this video tells me about how scientists can make things quicker for fast vaccine to recover all these patients on potential damage. So let's go into the potential thing. So number 3 is the whole thing. The first is the vaccine development. In the vaccine development, we have 3 parts. First is research, second is testing, we have safety, efficiency, and side effects. 3 is manufacturing. All of this depends on how fast it was. But concluding researching has to be careful and efficient to try the testing. Testing will be more harder to complete, but it's actually very slow. The slowest of them all. And also the manufacturing has to be the same with testing. The same with research. So it's actually very complex, but it actually will be easier if more scientists compete together. Number 2 is manufacturing. When I found it into the next part of the video, I see manufacturing also the part of the job. When the vaccine is actually incorporated and returned and understand from the scientists, they begin to locate all these things to the manufacturers. It's begin to these robots to make things faster, but instead it's very slow. But it's actually not slow as testing, so it's actually completed. And mostly, the strategy here is when research. So before we go into the manufacturers, so for example, so in most recent cases, when you research, the scientists research. Okay, so I actually repeated these words 3 times because it's very important, and it is the most flexible things of all scientists have to be the fast and safe, efficient way. Imagine antibody going to the way, and when they declare a virus or a pathogen, they actually have to deal with some cases to stop the virus. So researchers is actually a complex part of the problem. The grasp of ways the right antibodies to develop the same and to be efficient, and the most efficient vaccines actually slow to work out. But these are the 2 types, the very fastest to easiest to find antibodies. First is inactivated ones. Second is sub-N2. It's more quickly than the inactivated. These all jumped into the research. It's also how these 2 kinds also have pros and cons in their own cases. So it's actually typical kinds of consequences. For example, this virus named Vicky actually takes only 7 months. And also in COVID-19, this only takes about 2 or 42 days. Yes. And others is worse, and how can we make this happen? Because after the breathtaking, scientists make the conclusion is having all the other countries and nations collaborate to each other and face and doing the same challenges. That's what makes things faster and safer. And there you have the goal. First, it's manufactured at the same as researching, and the testing will be more longer in both of these, so it's actually making estimates. For the test, the third part, I still have 3 parts. And I just tell you at the beginning, 1, 2, 3. And mostly because it's so much valuable and safety, so I'm gonna more deeper in the ones. In the first one, I could inject only 1 person. Second is a tiny group of 2 or 3. Third is the whole community, and how it affects it. In conclusion, our thought is how all these scientists collaborate to each other and make the solutions so effectively. That's how we have to collaborate with each other and change our minds, helping each other, and scientists help. And that's how science can stop and makes more vaccine without for 20 years. Thank you everyone to listen to me speak today of how fast a vaccine can be made. Thank you.